Hello, Aquarius, my dear friends and teachers, and welcome to November 2020. Here's the last full month of Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn. December, we will be seeing them join you and conjunct and opening up with a bang in Aquarius. And I did want to take a minute, even though this is something we're going to continue to talk about in December. It's important. November is important energetically for everyone, and especially for you, I think, in just getting prepared for a really big energetic cycle for Aquarians. 3 years of Saturn working with you. And we had a taste of it earlier this year. We had a tiny taste of it. But starting December 17th, 18th, both Jupiter and Saturn are going to be in your sign. And November, like I said, is the last full month. To take stock, to set some goals, to get clear on what it is that you want in this life. And I want to get really specific about this, Aquarius, because it's not about what you're supposed to want. It's about what you really want. And I think this can get confusing for all of us, right? Because sometimes we are culturally trained so deeply that we start to really believe that what actually we feel like we're supposed to want, we think we actually want. We think we actually want, well, I want that huge success, I want to be like busy with this thing because that's what I'm supposed to want. And this month is a really great time to see clearly for you what's the difference between what feels like you're supposed to want and the things you really do want. So take that time. That's the message that came through. Now, this is aided in part in November by the fact that we are starting to come out of the cloud, out of the fog, out of the spiritual fog that is Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, Neptune retrograde. Those three are going direct this month. We're also coming to a culminating point with Jupiter and Pluto. These two are going conjunct on the 12th. They've joined up a couple of other times this year, and this is their final conversation this year before Jupiter moves on. And it's important because this is a transformational moment. We have the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction on the 12th. On the 13th into the 14th, Mars is stationing direct in Aries. And we have a new moon in Scorpio on the 15th. Those few days are going to be huge on the transformation front. It's going to be all about how we are shifting, how we have learned from this year, what that has done, what has that changed for us, how have we changed, how have our desires, our wishes, our needs, how we view ourselves, how we view reality changed. And there's like a clarity that comes through those days that is pretty strong compared to, I think, a lot of the energy we've had with the last 4 months. And that aids in us being able to see death. We are in Scorpio season. It is a time of transformation. 2 more cards came out, 7 of Pentacles and 2 of Cups. Oh, that's so nice. I love this. This is a great series already. This is a time to just be able to see, oh yeah, okay, I thought I needed to want this path this year. I thought I needed to really want it and long for it and need it and make myself want it. Oh yeah, okay, I don't need to like want every single thing in there. This is what my heart really wants, right? These direct motions kind of help us like see, right? It flips our vision a little bit into a different modality. What card wanted to come out? King of Pentacles. Aquarius, I love this. This month, what I see is a huge month of assessment and deep honesty and preparation. And I don't think that's a passive thing. I sometimes think when we talk about things like, oh, this is a month of prepping, you're preparing for what's next. We think about that as kind of a passive thing where nothing's happening in that month and we're just sitting around and it's like, this is boring. That's not the case. I think preparing in some ways is the most fun part of the process because this is where we concoct new ideas. This is where we find joy in the details. This is where we get really honest with ourselves. This is where we flip into our soul voice. And this is really where the magic happens. And it is very interactive. It is very proactive. It is not a passive thing to be in preparation mode, acknowledgement mode, and review mode. It is an absolutely engaged and proactive and empowered space to be working from, and I love it. And it's very much November's energy. So right away, okay, you are going through a transformation. And like I said, we are getting prepared for a lot of powerful energy in your sign in 2021. 2021, you've got Jupiter, which is like the spotlight in your sign. You know, Jupiter, when it's in your sign, is going to ask you to expand and grow really fast. You have Saturn in your sign, which is a co-ruler, an old ruler of yours, wanting you to build very authentic things. And so when you see this death energy here, it makes so much sense to me. You got to let go of like every single other year of your life and be okay with the fact that they happened. Now it's time for something new. Now it's time for a new dawn. And it's important to think to be actively engaged in this process of release and turnover, right? Not to just kind of be like, oh, it's happening to me. This is something that you can actively welcome and open into, right? And part of this death process, right, is the Seven of Pentacles. I love this card because this is a really honest review. And actually, when I see this card, I think about as doing a written or a visual exercise of some kind where you really sit down honestly and you say, what do I really want to do? What don't I have to do anymore? What things am I picking up that I don't have to do anymore? What feels rewarding? What feels heavy? You could have friendships or relationships where you're showing up time and again, but you don't really mean it. You don't really want to be there. You could have routines or foods or supposed to be desires that you're carrying around with you that you do not need to harvest anymore. And that's where Seven of Pentacles is so empowering, because a lot of times we sneak little things onto our cart of life, you know, into our baggage, into the sack over our shoulder. We think we need it. And then it comes along with us for months. And then if we really stop to look through what we have in there, it's like, wait a second, I don't need this chipped plate. Like, why am I lugging this around? So this is important, right? Now here's the thing. The more you're willing to just feel that skin shed off of you like a snake, the more you're going to be noticing these blessings popping out right and left for you, right? This is where you're headed. And as we get into the second half of this month, we get past some of the intensity of these shifts, and we start moving towards Sagittarius season, which is a very good season for Aquarians, I think. I think that there is such a beautiful, fun interplay between Sag and Aquarius. I love it. There is this goodness that's coming in. Yes, right? Two of Cups. You cannot go wrong. Who doesn't love seeing this energy? Now, it's interesting, right? The difference between the feeling in the Seven of Pentacles card and the Two of Cups card. Seven of Pentacles, this guy is kind of like, I am not digging everything that I'm literally digging. Some of these things are just like, oh, I'm saying yes because I don't want to be rude. The Two of Cups is like, this just feels so good. This is so reciprocal. This is so joyful. Yes, this can be a relationship. This is also like what you do in the world, the creativity, the community, the friendships, the routines that you're in. You know, are they symbiotic? Are they giving you life? You know, when I look at these two cards, it's the difference between, the best analogy I can come up with is dating, actually, because it's like when you go on a date with somebody who, you know, they're really nice. On paper, you look at them and you say, this person should just be like the perfect person for me. You know, we have this in common. They're really great. They're even, I could look at them and say, that's an attractive person. And I don't really want to be here. And so they ask me out, and so I go and I have the coffee or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, right? You know, you say yes, and then the Two of Cups, where it's like, it's not even a question. You want to go, you want to explore, you want to have fun with that person. It doesn't take effort. It doesn't have to include analyzing why it's okay for you to enjoy the thing. It just feels good. It nourishes you. When you get home at the end of the day, you don't feel tired. You don't feel like you've just spent all your energy. You feel full. And that doesn't have to be just relationships. That can be anything. And that is the discernment that is so important this month. And here's the thing. This month is also asking you about long-term investments. Oh, the King of Pentacles, this guy. Yeah, some of you may be having some earth energy action in your life, like a Taurus energy or a Cappy energy, moving through. But the King of Pentacles has a very specific message that he likes to bring about. When he shows up, there's a very practical, earnest thing going on here. But yes, it can have to do with, taking care of your health, investing in the things around you, making wise money choices, totally. But even deeper than that, especially in the context of this conversation, I think about the King of Pentacles as, where do you really want to long range invest your energy? Right? Do you want to invest it in that community, that relationship, that work, that job, that routine, or not? Because where you refine, simplify, focus in, really follow your heart, your soul call. And it can be very in the details. It doesn't always have to be seismic shifts in order for it to be following your soul call. I'm a huge believer in baby shifts, right? Those little shifts that you make that honor who you are and don't just say, I'm not really that worth it. I'll just keep eating that food even though it makes me so sick and tired, right? Those little shifts really make a big difference. The King of Pentacles is asking you to invest in what it is that you actually want. Because November, we're getting prepped. It is huge prep energy for this Aquarian time, which I am so looking forward to. It is going to be such a wild ride, and we're all going to have to adjust to more of the Aquarian energy. For you guys, you kind of have a leg up in the sense that we're all collectively going to be going through this Jupiter-Saturn transits together, but because they're in your sign, and we're going to have to be following some of the leads of the Aquarian energy, the Aquarian paradigm, you're going to have that ability to be like, yeah. And this is going to be a time where you, as a person, are being asked to really invest in yourself, right? So this is a great month to get really real about that. I want to pull a final card from my Animal Totem Tarot. So much fun. This is such a beautiful deck. I've been having an amazing time working with this deck this month. In some ways, I think the messages here can be really helpful. Really tap us back into something deep and true. The High Priestess. Black Widow, I believe, right? Yep, Black Widow. Intense, but Aquarius, I'm never surprised by that somehow with all of you. Let's see what the message for the High Priestess is. Gotta go all the way back in my book here to find the answer. Here we go. Black Widow. Here's her message. It is all too easy to allow those around you to tell your story for you, to strip you of your divine power and weigh you down with labels and limiting beliefs about who you should be. But it is much harder to create yourself through the lens of your own divine vision, to be truly you inside and out, without shame or guilt. I care not about what others think they know about me. They will gossip regardless of what I do. But I know who I am, and each and every day I honor my driven self by being true to my vision of myself, who I am. Wow. That's just blowing my mind right now, because that's exactly the message I had for you at the beginning. not what you're supposed to want, not who you're supposed to be according to whatever cultural or whatever standards, but who you truly are in your divine vision of yourself. You know, it doesn't mean you have to be going around burning things down and hurting people and being disrespectful or like dramatic and destroying your life and saying that's, you know, loving yourself. It's just in starting to be authentic, being really honest with yourself, right? Listening to that call. And it really can start out with the smallest of things. If you make a pledge to yourself over the course of November to every day make one adjustment that feels truer to your soul. And that can really be anything. It can be, you know what? I'm going to go on a slightly longer walk today because it feels really good to get that fresh air. I'm going to eat a meal that feels nourishing to me because that just feels right today. Or, you know, honestly, it could be like, you know what? I've been eating healthy for months. I'm going to have a pizza cookie because that feels joyful to me. I don't know what the joyful shifts are going to be for each one of you. Obviously, it's going to be really unique to you. It doesn't always have to be about being perfect and this perfect, holistic, spiritual divine being. It can also be in the choices we make to rebel a little bit against what is considered the good thing to do. That's for sure. Whatever those micro shifts are, what happens from November 1st to November 30th if you commit to every day just finding one thing that you can shift, and it can be very small, that brings you closer to your divine voice, that brings you closer to who you really are and not who you think you're supposed to be every day. That is my challenge to you, Aquarius. We are definitely going to be covering this powerful Aquarius time coming up in my Patreon. We're also going to be closing out Mars retrograde because that is huge, and I didn't really get into it much this month. Mars retrograde ending means we are starting to move forward. We are moving out of this kind of locked position that has forced us to go internal. We're coming into some really powerful forward motion this month. We're going to be covering all of that in Patreon every week, doing the worksheets, doing the check-ins, doing the visualizations. So if you're looking for support, I'd love to see you there. You can also find me on my Instagram and on my website. I'll leave all of my links in the description box. And you can find PinkLune's gorgeous jewelry on her Etsy shop as well. I'm always wearing it. It's really fun stuff. And I will see you in December for a continuation of these wild stories. I love you so much, and have a blessed and safe November.